Season 2 brings in a couple brand new weapons. We get this new one called the EGRT. I don't know what people are going to call that for short, Egret, or whatever the heck. And then the Rev 46. Both pretty good weapons that definitely fit into the meta, but do not make it so that you absolutely have to run that or nothing else. So we'll be talking about some of the other weapons that are available. We know the Peacekeeper got a buff, the M15 got a nerf. They didn't really touch too much of the SMGs other than make them a little bit better in general. But overall, we got a few different weapons to talk about, and I've already updated the spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet is something you could bookmark, linked near the top of the description. And pretty much I have all the weapons combined on the left category. And then when we go ahead and swap over to the right side, there are a handful of weapons from the previous titles that make it into the meta. And in terms of the TR2, probably won't get touched. It does have its weaknesses. There's a few other weapons that people just prefer. But in general, you're okay using pretty much the BO7 weapons, and luckily enough they balance them so that you get a good variety at close range and a good variety at long range. And they still manage to, even though they've nerfed some of the weapons kind of down, they've kind of kept them into the meta, with maybe the exception of the M15. We know that we had the DS20 Mirage that's still in the mix. Doesn't make it meta, but it's still in the mix. But we've gotten some new other contenders like the Maddox, which I think a lot of people like. The Peacekeeper got a huge recoil buff. The LMGs for Black Ops 7, pretty good. So when it comes to the close range meta, we're going to focus on the close range TTKs. We still have a couple broken TTKs with these. I got to retest those probably a little bit to just see if they tune them at all. They still kill pretty quick, but they require you to be essentially point blank. The Sturmwolf, this is the one that only has a 30-round mag. This one ended up getting a nerf as well, but it didn't get quite as nerfed as the other version, which basically nerfed that one into the ground. They wanted people to stop hard using that. That one's good, still probably has a sniper support, because you can see the range goes pretty good, and it has a better TTK a little bit further. But up close, it's gonna get beat by the Razor, the Kogot, the new Rev, the Ryden. MPC is still pretty good. That's kind of probably where the cutoff is. I think the Dravik will probably get another buff. The RK will probably get another buff. And then you can kind of see pretty much they found a way to get most of the SMGs into the mix. Then when it comes to the long range, we have a little bit of a different look. But overall, you can kind of see they're sorted by this 40-meter range, which is probably the most common TTK range that you're going to get into. Some of these guns fall off, like we can see here with the XM325 at 45 meters, whereas a barrel that increases the range will significantly help in this category, and then push that out so you're kind of helped out. But it really depends on your preference on how you play. I think on small map, Peacekeeper is going to be a go-to for a lot of people, especially if you put on a little bit more range, and then you still manage to be able to do it on a smaller range, even though I still think it has a little bit too much recoil for like a 100-meter shot for a lot of people. I think for the 45, 50-meter range, it's pretty solid, and it's going to be able to compete. I think the brand new rifle, very good. I think a lot of people will lean towards the Maddox though, because even though the Maddox kills slightly slower, the Maddox has a better range, and it has a pretty easy recoil pattern to control. I think the DS is still in the mix there. You can see only a 10 millisecond difference in TTK at the further range, and it still kills comparable up close. And this is where the Egret does really well. I think you could build it probably as a sniper support as well, because it kills so fast up close. AK got a few buffs, and you can see it's kind of ridiculous even at the further ranges. So the AK, again, pretty nasty. I don't know, I think if you build it out the right way, you could probably get it where you're deleting people. They might end up nerfing that one, but more in the medium range, because of how much TTK you're getting up to 65 meters. So like I've already explained, we have a lot of good options. I think they've really done a great job since the integration to really update this. I think the floor loot's still a pretty good spot. And I managed to level up both of these guns. One goes up to 41, the other one goes up to 36. I'm still on the fence of whether or not the prestige attachment is going to be worth it for the new SMG. It is a prestige attachment that makes it so that you can move a little bit faster while aiming down sight, but at the cost of your recoil. So that could be a little bit more of a more aggressive play style, but I have to prestige it. And I think for a lot of people, unless this is completely broken, they're not going to go out of their way to prestige it. So I'll go ahead and set you up with kind of like a build for those weapons. We got the Mirage, and then we got the Ryden. And again, no in particular order. I think there's going to be a lot of preferences. I think the Maddox will probably be kind of like the one people lean towards, depending on their play style. And then we'll also have people with probably the Peacekeeper, depending on what map they're going to play, and then whatever optic they're going to go with. I typically use a low zoom because I'm not usually playing big map. And then you get the option to go with one of the 3X, 4X if you want to go ahead and go a little bit further. But overall, that's kind of how these two will be built out. And pretty straightforward to use. And then we have the Ryden, which is pretty good, fast fire rate. I think overall it's a pretty solid gun. Even at the medium range, it does pretty good. Pretty good spot with a lot of these guns. I think the Maddox, like I said, is probably going to be a good go-to. Kogot is really in the contender there. Like I said, they've nerfed out the other ones so that you kind of don't really need to run those, and you got option to run 5 other things depending on what you want to do. I think one of the things that's currently bugged right now is this overpressured or FMJ that they talked about. It's supposed to do a bunch of other benefits. For the rifles, I don't think it's fully taken effect unless they did a hot fix when I had already looked at these earlier to set up the build. So until that gets fixed, then maybe we'll rework the attachments. But in general, it's kind of one of those things that I think a lot of people will lean towards that. The Kogot, just pretty good. Then we got the AK. Again, like I said, the FMJ here, they did update it. So that could be another good way to go instead of the buffer springs, because this one helps damage, range, bullet velocity, penetration, and then increased flinch. So this is if you want the extra range and bullet velocity. Since I'm going for recoil with this thing and we're already getting 1058, it's not a bad deal. So you do got to make a choice with some of those if that's what you're looking to go with. Then for the carbon, we have the carbon available as well. And you can kind of see the attachments there. And pretty much when we use this, like I said, this thing kills pretty fast. I think it still could have a little bit of too much wiggle for some people, but it kills fast enough where you can make up for it if you're playing a little bit smaller. I think it can be a little bit more of a challenge to hit the 100-meter target, like over there, because it does have a little bit of wiggle, even if you're accounting for that. So it's just something to keep in mind depending on the ranges you're going to engage different players. Then we have the Peacekeeper, which I think is significantly easier to shoot. And we can kind of have the 5 attachments there, and then the Razor set up there. It was way harder on the 50-meter target. I wish I could strafe in here, but these walls block it. But yeah, it's a lot better to use than it was before. And you can see the Razor killing pretty quick. And you can see it says over there, or over there, all the way on the other side of the screen, 592 milliseconds. So that's where you could also test to kind of compare it. If I ever have like a TTK that's like insanely off, let me know in the comments. I typically update that. Sometimes they might do a stealth change and mess things up or fix things or whatever. And that's kind of how that part goes. And then we get the 2 new guns, which we've already gone and max level those out, which they got double XP going on right now. So you might as well take advantage of it. I think this one's going to be a favorite just because it shoots pretty straight, easy to use. And then it manages to do what it needs to, 60 round mag, that type of stuff. So it fits right into the profile that we like. This one has a little bit more shake. I don't know what it would be like with the stock. I think it's bugged where it says that, but well, I guess we'll see kind of how that works. So overall, I'm a fan of the way they've been handling the meta. I think we get our new map, and then we got some other updated stuff coming out in the next couple weeks. So we'll see how it goes. See you on the next one. Thank you for watching as always. Have a great day.